So let's start with the basics. What does haber actually mean? Well, when we use haber in the impersonal forms that we're going to look at today, we're using it to talk about whether something exists. And we express this in English as there is, there are, there was, there were, there will be, and there would be. Now, the first and most common form you'll see is I, spelled H-A-Y. Now, remember that the H isn't pronounced in Spanish, so the pronunciation is I. I is in the present tense and it's used in the same way we use there is or there are in English. It's always the same word to express both there is and there are. It never changes. For example, hay un parque cerca de mi casa. There is a park near my house. Or, hay tres parques cerca de mi casa. There are 3 parks near my house. We also use I with things that aren't physical, so things like ideas, feelings, or possibilities, and so on. For example, hay un problema con el sistema. There is a problem with the system. Or, hay problemas con el sistema. There are problems with the system. Remember, I does not change for singular or plural. Whether we're talking about one thing or many things, we always use the same word, I. The next way we use haber is in the past, and for that we use the imperfect form había. The imperfect form talks about things that happened in the past without focusing on exact start or end times. We use it for ongoing actions, repeated habits, background situations, or descriptions. Think of it like saying back then or in the past. For example, like when we say when I was young or 50 years ago. Here are 2 examples to make it clearer. Cuando era joven, había un teatro cerca de mi barrio. When I was young, there was a theatre near my neighborhood. Or, hace 50 años había muchas bicicletas en las calles. 50 years ago, there were many bicycles on the streets. Now notice something important. Even if the noun is plural, había doesn't change. Now, some Spanish speakers incorrectly say habían when referring to plural things, but that's actually wrong. Just like I in the present tense stays the same for one thing or many things, había is always the same in the imperfect tense. Whether it's 1 bicycle or 100 bicycles, we always say había. Next, we have HUBO. This form also means there was or there were, but it's used in the preterite, which is the technical name for the simple past tense. Unlike había, which is the imperfect tense and describes ongoing or repeated actions in the past, HUBO is used for events that had a specific beginning and end, things that happened and then finished. HUBO is typically used when we're referring to a specific completed event at a particular moment in the past, like when we say such and such happened yesterday, or such and such happened in 2010. It highlights what occurred at that point in time, not the ongoing situation around it. On the other hand, había sets the scene, giving background or context over a period of time. In other words, había paints the background while HUBO focuses on what actually happened at a specific point during that time. Now, here are 2 examples to make it clearer. En 2010 hubo un gran terremoto en Chile. In 2010, there was a big earthquake in Chile. Or, ayer hubo 2 accidentes en el mismo tramo de carretera. Yesterday, there were 2 accidents on the same stretch of road. Notice how HUBO doesn't change for singular or plural. Whether we're referring to one thing or many things, the word stays the same. Now, the fourth way that we use haber is in the future. In Spanish, there are two ways to talk about the future with haber. The first is the simple future tense, which is formed by conjugating haber itself. In this case, the word is HABRÁ, which means there will be. For example, habrá una exposición de fotografía en el museo el próximo mes. There will be a photography exhibition at the museum next month. Or, en los próximos años habrá más parques urbanos en la ciudad. In the coming years, there will be more urban parks in the city. Now notice again how it doesn't change for singular or plural. We don't use habrán for plural nouns. It's always habrá, whether we're talking about one thing or many things. Now, just like in English, where we can say there will be, we can also express future events using a construction like there is going to be. In Spanish, this is va a haber. For example, va a haber una tormenta fuerte esta noche. There's going to be a strong storm tonight. Or, va a haber muchos turistas en la plaza mañana. There's going to be a lot of tourists in the square tomorrow. Now, one thing to notice is that in everyday speech, Spanish speakers rarely pronounce va a haber as three separate words. They usually merge them together, and it can sound like va a haber or even just va a haber when spoken quickly. So if you hear a native speaker, it might sound more like this. Va a haber una tormenta fuerte esta noche. Or va a haber muchos turistas en la plaza mañana. Now, if you want a handy reference for everything that we're covering in this video, I've made a free PDF that you can download. It's perfect for reviewing later on at your own pace. You'll find the link down in the description below. Okay, so the fifth way that we use haber is in the conditional tense, which is HABRÍA. We use HABRÍA to talk about situations that would exist under certain conditions. In other words, things that could or might happen but aren't guaranteed. In English, this is expressed as there would be. For example, habría una reunión de trabajo mañana si el jefe tuviera tiempo. There would be a work meeting tomorrow if the boss had time. Or, habría más oportunidades si estudiaras otro idioma. There would be more opportunities if you studied another language. Just like the other forms we've seen, habría does not change for singular or plural. It's never habrían in the plural. Whether we're talking about one thing or many things, it's always habría. Now, even after watching this video, you still might get confused between the different forms of haber, especially había and HUBO. But the key is to practice them in real sentences so that you can use each one with confidence. Now, that's exactly what my beginner Spanish course helps you to do. It helps you to build full sentences from the very first lesson. You can check it out for free on YouTube by clicking the thumbnail that's on screen now, or by clicking the link in the description. So, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.